Hello again, Taurus. It's December 2015. Dadhichi here from astrology.com.au with your month in focus. It's the last month of the year, so I guess Merry Christmas is in order. Thanks for having joined me, those of you that have been regular viewers of this segment, and to those of you that are new, welcome. I hope you'll enjoy what's on offer. Brief, but hopefully to the point. And this month in particular, it's a bit of a contradiction because having wished you a Merry Christmas, I'm looking at your horoscope, and what I actually see here, Taurus, is a very strong conjunction, a very responsible conjunction of the Sun and Saturn in your 8th house, which is that deep psychological transformative house, which means, a bit of tension there. You're wanting to have all the enjoyment and fun, but underlying all of that, we see this solemn sort of conjunction. Fortunately, the Sun is separating from that conjunction, but we do see the new moon also taking place in this area. So that's on the 12th. You're not really easily going to get away from eliminating some of those things that have been bothering you, particularly in your relationships. This makes you more responsible. It makes you realize that perhaps, the fun is over. You want to get down to the nitty-gritty, and you don't want to entertain people that aren't going to reciprocate anymore. And that's also shown by the new moon, which indicates, the way you view the inner life, your emotional and psychological life, is destined for some big changes during December and into the new year. We see the full moon taking place in the sign of Cancer, which is your 3rd house, on the 26th, just after Christmas. So that's got to do with your communication. And being full, you've got to be a little careful later in the month that you do not overemphasize your emotions when it comes to dealing with people, because of course, opposite that full moon, we see Pluto in the 9th house, which is very much shaping a lot of your philosophical, moral and ethical views during its transit. These are all very slow transits indeed. Mercury produces some good results during its transit earlier on in the month, from that 8th house to the 12th house, again another spiritual house, looking back into the past, trying to make heads or tails of why you are, who you are, where you are, and for what reason, and then making some big decisions. Don't make them too quickly, because the Mercury-Uranus connections are sometimes very impulsive and drastic too in their nature, and that's shown on the 4th by the transit of Mercury into the square to Jupiter, which is in your 5th house of love affairs, romance. It's a spiritual house to some extent, but it's the inner child within you, so that's aching to get out right now, but at what cost? Be careful of that, and weigh up everything very carefully. Venus moves to your 7th house of relationships. That's occurring on the 5th of December. 7th house is lovely, bringing your ruling planet into the foreground, making you popular, and that should act as a nice counterbalance to some of the heavier stuff that I've just mentioned to you. The physicality of the Mars-Pluto square in that 6th house of work, that can be a little bit damaging. It can be devitalizing. Fortunately, you've got Venus in the foreground during this period. That square takes place on the 7th, and then there's an opposition to Uranus on the 11th. So that is a double combo for, it can be physically endangering, but I see this in your 6th house of devitalization. So you're probably burning the candle at both ends and need to just pace yourself a little bit more under these very tough transits. Venus from that 7th house really helps you reach for those ideals in the relationships that you're looking for. On the 11th, the trine or 120-degree aspect to Neptune in your 11th house of friendships is very, very nice. Generally, these trine aspects work easily. They're harmonious. So what it could mean is that someone does live up to your expectations, which is quite different, isn't it, in life? Someone can be caring, spiritual. They can actually help you understand what it is you're looking for in relationships. So that could act as an adjunct to some of these harder, more serious aspects that I spoke of in the earlier part of the reading. Mercury conjoins Pluto on the 20th. That's intense. So your thinking is really becoming more refined, and you're more interested in understanding the nature of things. In the 9th house, this could be a very intense program of figuring out where you want to live, where you want to travel to, what sort of studies you want to do. So it can also encompass quite a few different areas of your life. And there's a bit of a foreign flavour around this particular aspect. We have some other mixed aspects there. Mercury primarily being the one that is conjoining Pluto there. Then on the 21st it squares Uranus. That's a bit erratic. It can really make you anxious and high strung in the 9th house. If you're thinking of travelling, then you need to, be systematic in the way you go about that, and don't overload yourself. And don't stress if you haven't got money just now. Just do what you can when you can. Sun also transits into the 9th house after the 22nd. So this is just before Christmas. Some of you will be travelling. That's often the case as the Sun moves to this part of the zodiac every year. But let's have a look there at that lovely aspect on the 26th, the day after Christmas, with Mercury trining Jupiter in your 5th house. That's lovely again for communicating amorously, for taking up some new hobbies, or generally just for enjoying some really good entertainment with friends. The square of Mercury to Mars on the 30th is one you need to watch out for. Again, Mars is still in your 6th house. This could be disputes with co-workers if you happen to be working through the festive season. Be careful and measure every single word that you have to speak. Venus moves to your 8th house of sexuality. This is a good time to get intimate with the person you love, and maybe use some of that more refined inner knowledge you've gained through these more responsible aspects to, connect with the deeper part of the person you love and help them to elevate their understanding of themselves and your relationship. Great note to end on anyhow. But in the meantime, I will see you in the new year. Have a Merry Christmas. Have fun. Hope Santa brings you lots of enjoyable gifts. And don't forget the regular stop off at, I think we've got it here, astrology.com.au, somewhere along here. There's a link. Please go there. We'll get a more detailed analysis of the month, and the 2016 yearly horoscopes are now up, ready for you to look at and see what's coming for you in the next 12 months. Take care now. Bye-bye.